From brilliant yet fatal decisions to previously unseen natural predators capable of taking your breath away. Today, you will witness one of the most unexpected twists in history, when an attempt to defend against snakes turned into a catastrophe for an entire island. You are about to see breathtaking footage, rare animal species, and the most dangerous creatures on Earth. From deadly snakes to cunning hunters that were already being tamed in ancient Egypt. And remember, only those who watch to the end will truly grasp the scale of what happened. And now, to the most unusual and unsettling nature investigation you have ever heard. Nobody expected that just 30 tiny creatures brought to the Japanese island of Amano, Oshima in 1979 would transform a tropical paradise into an arena of ecological chaos. The government hoped that Indian mongooses would solve two problems at once: rid local residents of venomous snakes and cut down the rat population. At first, everything seemed like a brilliant idea. Small, fast, resistant to venom and born hunters. But nature, as we know, dislikes being managed by spreadsheets. By 2000, the mongoose population on the island had soared to 10,000. And then it became obvious. The snakes still had not disappeared. Why? Simple. Mongooses are diurnal predators, while the snakes hunt at night. Their paths almost never crossed. Instead of the snake threat, mongooses switched to much more accessible prey: local birds, rabbits, and mice. They threw a genuine feast in an ecosystem utterly unprepared for them. While islanders hoped to escape snake bites, they received something far more dangerous: a swift and uncontrolled loss of biodiversity. The mongooses turned out not to be a solution, but the start of a new problem. Since the early 1980s, Japan's southern regions were shaken by fear of a creature that made no sound, yet left horrifying consequences. We are talking about the haboo, a venomous snake related to rattlesnakes and vipers. In 1980 alone, about 400 people suffered bites, and many of them did not survive. There was no antidote then. Even after it was invented, other difficulties arose. The serum had to be stored in a refrigerator, and remote villages had neither electricity nor medical infrastructure. Running power lines would have cost millions and taken years. An unconventional solution emerged. Instead of treating bites, prevent them. Replace the threat with a hunter. Thus, mongooses entered the game. Only no one knew they would cause far more destructive consequences. Not every animal merits UNESCO protection, but the Amami rabbit is just such a case. It is called a living fossil, the last representative of an ancient branch of Asian rabbits. It survived on tiny Japanese islands where any outside interference is catastrophic. That interference arrived in the form of the mongoose. Instead of exterminating snakes, mongooses enthusiastically hunted these unique, incomparable rabbits. They dug up their burrows, ate the young, and wiped out entire generations. One predator threatened not only the Amami rabbit, but more than 15 other rare species: ryukyu rats, local birds, and reptiles. The fight for these creatures became the moral backbone of the entire mongoose removal campaign. This was not merely ecology, it was the defense of planetary history, of its ancient inhabitants that reached us through millions of years of evolution. What started as a natural solution quickly became a nightmare for farmers as well. Mongooses proved not only hunters, but thieves. They raided nests on farms, stole fruit from plantations, and infected livestock with diseases. Over 20 years of rampage, the habitat of small animals on Amami Oshima shrank by almost 40%. The little island was unprepared for such an onslaught. The ecosystem was cracking at the seams, and residents had to spend millions to control and restore the balance. But it was already too late. Mongooses had settled in, multiplied, and felt like masters. This became a lesson not only for Japan, but for the whole world. Island ecosystems are especially fragile, and interference without considering the consequences can destroy what took millions of years to build. Every decision, even the most logical on paper, must be tested by reality. Nature does not tolerate haste. Sometimes, to save nature, one must fight not the enemy, but the ally once believed helpful. After it became clear that mongooses only aggravated the situation on Amami Oshima, Japan launched an unprecedented eradication campaign. The first attempts failed, traditional traps worked poorly, the predators ignored baits. Then, an entire arsenal was deployed. Special steel traps, strongly scented poisoned baits, search dogs. A real hunt began, with science on the side of humans and speed and cunning on the side of the mongooses. Since 2005, volunteers and locals formed a special team patrolling forests and mountains. Graphs showed the numbers falling. Year by year, the population dropped, until in April 2018, the last mongoose was caught. The island was officially declared free of these invaders. It seemed like the end, but behind it lay decades of struggle and millennia-old ecosystems that survived against all odds. Now, Amami Oshima is a rare example of how the ruin can be restored. It is one of 9 cases worldwide where mongooses have been completely eradicated, and the only one on such a large island. The king cobra is not just a snake. It is a living legend. One can meet it from northern India to southern China, from Malaysia to the Philippines. It stands out not only for its size, on average 3.5 meters, but also for its habits. Unlike other snakes, the king cobra builds nests, guards its offspring, and most frighteningly, can growl. Its hiss sounds more like a dog's bark than a rustle. This snake has excellent eyesight. It detects movement at 100 meters, and its venom is one of the most lethal neurotoxic cocktails in the world, acting faster than most known poisons. Yet despite the danger, king cobras prefer to avoid humans, striking only when cornered. The king cobra is a symbol of power and caution, beauty and peril. This is an animal you had better not meet face to face. The blue krait, also called the 5-step snake. Legend says, if a blue krait bites you, you will not make more than 5 steps before losing consciousness. It is venomous, lightning fast, and eerily beautiful. Black and white bands along its body, as if warning, do not approach. But its most treacherous trait is the near absence of pain at the bite site. The victim does not immediately realize what happened, while neurotoxins are already destroying the nervous system. Without medical help, a person can die in just 12 hours. The krait's venom is 15 times stronger than that of an ordinary cobra. Nevertheless, some people dare to pick it up, unaware they are playing with death. The good news, there is an antidote. The bad news, you must receive it very quickly. Once, sugar was Hawaii's gold, and rats its main enemy. In a desperate attempt to save the crop, plantation owners in the 1880s imported 72 mongooses from Jamaica. The plan seemed flawless. By day, mongooses hunt. By night, rats hide. But nobody thought these 2 species simply would not meet. Left unemployed, mongooses began eating local birds, turtles, and their eggs, wiping out everything that could not hide or fly away. The consequences were catastrophic. At least 8 unique Hawaiian bird species vanished. By the time the authorities tried setting up barriers and reserves, it was too late. Hawaii is still paying for that haste. Mongooses, once seen as saviors, became a symbol of ill-considered decisions. Alas, nature does not forgive easy shortcuts. Africa knows its snakes, yet even there the Mozambique spitting cobra stands out. Its color ranges from slate to brown-black, but it is recognized not by color, but by its unique weapon. It spits venom, accurately and up to 3 meters. When threatened, the snake raises almost 2/3 of its body, flares its hood, and shoots a toxic jet precisely into the eyes of the enemy. The venom causes severe irritation up to temporary blindness, and if the situation demands, the snake can bite as well. Moreover, it is known to play dead to avoid a fight. This cobra is truly fearless. Its diet even includes other venomous snakes, including the black mamba, one of the most dangerous in the world. The spitting cobra is a desert warrior living by very harsh rules. At first glance, the inland taipan looks little different from other snakes. Slender, agile, gliding through the sand, but this is no ordinary snake. It is a living weapon of mass destruction. The inland taipan, also called the fierce snake, is considered the most venomous snake on the planet. One bite can kill up to 100 adults. The venom acts with incredible speed. The first symptoms, pain, vomiting, convulsions, appear in 15 minutes. Death can follow in 45. The taipan strikes fast, precisely, and several times in succession. Yet remarkably, it is extremely shy and avoids people. You will not see it near villages or footpaths. It inhabits deserts in solitude, as if aware of its own power. This snake is a paradox of nature, the most lethal, and at the same time, one of the most peaceable. The danger comes not from aggression, but from invisibility. When archaeologists opened a tomb over 4,000 years old, no one expected anything so unusual. On a wall was depicted a man holding on a leash, a mongoose, a clear collar, the animal's stretched neck. No misinterpretation. A mongoose, tamed and used by Egyptians. This is the only known image of its kind in all Egyptian art. Scholars believe mongooses were kept as household animals, not for affection, but as hunters. They protected homes from snakes, rats, and mice. Perhaps they were even trained to scare birds during the hunt. Such coexistence of humans and a wild predator is yet another example of how early people realized a mongoose is not just a little animal, but a universal survival tool. Where land ends and boundless sea begins, lives a creature able to turn any wave into a deadly trap. The yellow-bellied sea snake is one of the most widespread and venomous marine inhabitants. Its body, black on top and bright yellow below, is a warning to anyone who dares draw near. This snake is a perfect swimmer. It has a flattened body, an oar-like tail, special valves on its nostrils, and unique skin that lets it absorb oxygen directly from the water. It can remain submerged for up to 5 hours. Its venom is a powerful mix of neurotoxins and myotoxins. A tiny dose is enough to kill an adult human. Yet remarkably, it does not drink salt water, only rainwater. That makes it even more mysterious and elusive. Her name is known to everyone who has ever heard of snakes. The black mamba, an African legend, a creature that has become a symbol of fear. It is one of the fastest snakes in the world and one of the most venomous. But contrary to popular myth, its name is not linked to skin color. It is the snake's mouth that truly terrifies, jet black inside, like an abyss. A black mamba bite leaves almost no external traces. No pain, no swelling, just a slight tingling. Inside, however, rages a storm. Its venom works swiftly, paralyzing the nervous system, stopping breathing. One bite can contain up to 0.14 ounces of venom, almost a shot glass. Without anti-venom, death can occur within a few hours. The black mamba does not always attack, but if it feels threatened, it never retreats. It is as fast as lightning and strikes without warning. People fear it for good reason, a true phantom of the African savannas, bringing death in silence. By the way, let us return to Japan's fight against mongooses. How did they manage to defeat them? At first, the hunt for mongooses looked like battling a shadow. They would not enter traps, ignored baits, and hid in thickets. But over time, Japan developed a strategy worthy of science fiction. Search dogs were deployed, baits with intensified scents, specially designed traps that did not harm other species. Every step was tracked on graphs. The number of mongooses declined while trap density increased. People went into mountains and jungles to protect what was left of nature. The work continued for years. It was not merely a biological operation. It was the defense of heritage. By 2018, after almost 4 decades of struggle, the island was finally declared clean. At first glance, nothing special. A slender snake with green or olive scales sits among tree branches. But the moment it opens its mouth, the true face of a killer shows. In the boomslang, the fangs are set deep in the jaw, and the venom acts extremely slowly. So slowly that a victim might think, it's nothing, and a day later die of internal bleeding. Its venom is a powerful hemotoxin. It destroys blood clotting, causing hemorrhages in the brain, muscles, and organs. In severe cases, bleeding from eyes and nose. And despite all this, the bite may not hurt at all. An antidote was developed only in the mid-20th century. Before that, saving a bitten person was almost impossible. Today, it is possible, on one condition: time. If serum is not administered within 2 days, only a complete blood transfusion can help. And that is not always an option in the wild. Among fallen leaves on tiny Caribbean islands scurry the last survivors, the St. Croix ground lizards. These are the remnants of an ancient population almost wiped off the face of the earth. On their home island of St. Croix, they exist no more. Complete extinction. The reasons are the same as in other tragic stories: mongooses and aggressive development. On only 2 neighboring islets, some 400 individuals somehow endured. When biologists learned of this, an urgent rescue operation was launched. The lizards were relocated to protected zones far from predators. The population began to recover. Today there are about 3,000, but the work continues. Scientists plan to return them to their historical homeland if they can secure the island. Because even the tiniest predator can erase an entire species from the map. And this is a battle not only for a reptile, it is a battle for balance. Sometimes the wildest ideas turn out the most promising. In Sri Lanka, at the beginning of the 21st century, someone proposed replacing service dogs with mongooses. Yes, the very same creatures. Local farmers had kept these animals for centuries as defenders against cobras. So why not try using their sense of smell in security service? A grant of $50,000 was allocated to the project. The animals were trained on zoo grounds. They were asked to find contraband hidden among car parts in freight containers. The signal, tail held erect. And yes, they managed it. Without error. The project was shut down not through failure, but due to a change of political leadership. Yet the idea was revolutionary. Imagine mongooses as border guards. Fast, clever, tireless. Perhaps in the future, they will return, not only as hunters, but as defenders of order. This is the ruler of the underwater world, the beaked sea snake. It can dive to a depth of 300 meters and stay submerged for up to 5 hours. Its skin breathes, and its venom is among the deadliest in the ocean. This is the beaked sea snake, a predator from which neither depth nor speed will save you. This species gives birth to live young, up to 30 at a time. The juveniles live in shallow water until they grow strong, then head out into the open sea. They spread through the waters of Asia and Australia, forming an invisible network of underwater killers. These snakes are responsible for the majority of deaths from sea snake bites. All this, despite humans being of no interest to them. What was accomplished on Amami Oshima is phenomenal. Worldwide, there have been only 9 documented cases of complete mongoose eradication, and only 1 on a large island. It took decades, thousands of people, millions in funding, and more than 1 scientific report. It was not merely a biological experiment, it was a challenge, an attempt to reverse a mistake everyone had deemed irreversible. And they succeeded. The island again became home to the rarest animals. Amami rabbits dig burrows, rare birds return to the forests, and people can finally live in harmony with the nature they themselves nearly destroyed. This case is proof. Even the most dangerous invasive species can be defeated. The main thing is to realize the consequences of our decisions in time. And that is all. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see something similar the next part, then subscribe to the channel and give a like. Thank you very much for watching. And right now, we invite you to view our previous episodes, which have just appeared on your screens.